Hey everybody, Goofy Rexy here, and hope everybody is doing well. And wanted to do a updated most valuable teams video in Marvel Strike Force. I apologize again, I'm still on quarantine here, so there's another quarantine video, right? Hopefully we'll be able to get back to our regular setup sometime soon. I will say though, I am feeling a lot better than what I was before. Yeah, I mean, even the 2 days ago when I made that video, I still wasn't 100%. But feeling a lot better. So hopefully things are will be able to finally test negative and be able to go back to my family, because I'm gonna be real with you guys, I do miss my kids. Haven't been able to see them here for a couple of days, except for my oldest who's with me. So looking forward to being able to get back to them. But listen, let's talk about this video here, the most valuable teams in Marvel Strike Force. The last one I did, I think, was in version 6.0 or patch 6.0, I should say. This one here we're doing for patch 6.3. The whole idea for this video is to talk about the teams in MSF that you should invest into that will provide you with the most value for your roster. So not the only teams to invest into, but the teams that provide you the best value in multiple game modes, or just being able to do things well and efficiently. What makes the most sense for you to invest into here? So that's ultimately the goal for this video. So let's actually dive into this sheet and this list that I have here, which there's like 11 teams that we're gonna go through, and we're gonna start off with what I think is probably the best or the most valuable team in MSF right now, which is a Darkhold team, right? So Darkhold, to me, they're just one of the top tier teams in MSF right now. They're a premier arena team, so obviously arena is going to be a high value any arena team is going to be a high value team, right? But they're also very good in a variety of game modes. So Cosmic Crucible, you have War, War Defense or War Offense, they're good. They're also a decent raid team as well. As a full team, I think to get the full value out of them in raids, though, it is dependent on stars and red stars. But as you're a couple of characters that you can use as plug and play, like Morgan, Doctor Strange, Heartless, along with probably like Deathpool and the Eternals, I think you can get some solid value out of them there. There's also, if you're end game, you can probably just use Dormammu and some of the Darkhold characters as well. But right, so yeah, they're a good team that can be used in a variety of game modes here. Agatha and Morgan are great in Dark Dimension. I used Morgan on my first run here, Agatha on my second run, doing pretty well. Still need to test out Doctor Strange Heartless here. We'll see how he performs in the Cosmic section. Probably should be able to get there tomorrow or the next day here. But yeah, I mean, overall good team. You're gonna need them for the saga, so you might as well invest into them and use them for pretty much basically all Dark Dimensions, right? Because it's not about speed anymore in terms of being able to get through Dark Dimensions. It's about efficient building of your roster. So Therefore, I would definitely say that this is a team that is definitely one of the most valuable because of where you can use them. But of course, you're going to be able to get an insane amount of value from them as well. The main issue for me, though, is that Agatha, Wong, Doctor Strange, Heartless, not really able to get a lot of shards for them right now, unless through luck or spending money. So that kind of is a little bit of a deterrent for some of the things that you need to do with this team here. Next team on the list is Eternals, two-person team, right? So Icarus and Cersei, they are great. They're currently still part of the current arena meta right now. Still, in my opinion, the best. I'm looking at some of my spelling errors here. Still one of the best Mystic Doom raid pairing or for MSF right now for most players, I would say, because of course some players can also still use the full Darkhold team in raids. As I said before, they're a top tier war option against mainly hero Asgardians right now. They're probably going to be used as a counter towards that. They're great in Dark Dimension. The main issue with the Eternals is their farmability, right? I think this hurts earlier and free-to-play players in a variety of areas. One of them being Scourge, right? This most recent Scourge for Famine. A lot of players did not have a good enough, Eternals or have Eternals at all for some of the other nodes in the game, because it's not just that node 5 and node 10, right? It's also the other nodes, and the Cosmic Mystic section was really tough for some players because they did not have Eternals. So this is definitely something that I feel like they need to address, being that these characters have been out now since November. But if you're gonna ask me, hey, I mean, they're not a full team, but as a tandem here, they're probably some of the two best characters to invest into just simply because of just where you can use them literally everywhere in the game right now. All right, next team on this list here is Secret Avengers with Kestrel and Shang-Chi. Gotta mention those two characters with him. One of the best all-around teams in the game, I think, right? Still the preferred team for the newer Doom raids and Doom 3 as well, but it can be used in other raid content too. In Cosmic Crucible, they're good both on offense and defense. With Kestrel, they just work so well together. I think that this team is incredibly dynamic in a lot of different areas. All characters that are up here, right? So Sharon, Secret Avengers, Cap Sam, Sharon, Maria Hill, Kestrel, Shang-Chi are all Dark Dimension characters, right? All of them, all you can use in Dark Dimension. Shang-Chi and City, you can use Sharon and Maria Hill and Captain Sam and Global. Kestrel can be used in the Cosmic section with Eternals, right? So, I mean, it makes sense, right, to invest into this comp. They're also great in war, right? New Marauders teams, any other Doom comps you can use them against. There you'll probably slot in Nick Fury. But yes, I mean, they're, in my opinion, they're still one of the best teams in the game, best all-around teams. A really fun team to play with, too, so they definitely are a recommendation for me. And then some of the characters are available for early and mid-game content as well. So they definitely, for me, are on this list. Next team are the Web Warriors. One of the most fun teams to play with in MSF right now. I know a lot of people like to auto with them. I still like to use them because I just think that they're really fun. Like similar to the symbiotes for me. I really enjoyed the symbiotes. I just like playing with them. I thought the animations are really cool. The Web Warriors animations are really cool. So I just like to see them in action here. But yeah, they're mainly a raid team. Although they are incredibly annoying on defense, whether it's in War or in Cosmic Crucible. They do struggle a little bit in Doom 3, but I think some of the nodes are really stupid. So the first node, you're going against other Web Warriors, so it's like an RNG hell. And then the second node is like a combo of like RNG and like, as you can say, like, what the heck is going on? Like, WTF, right? So usually I find it's better to kind of just go in on that second node and sack first, and then bring in my full Web Warrior team. That usually works out a little bit better here, but it's still doable. Just got to figure out the kill order and not letting certain characters drop to kind of create these full teams. Otherwise, I think you're going to be fine where that concerns. And for the most part, some of what I just mentioned too, like knowing the kill order and not letting certain characters drop, that's kind of applies to all Doom 3 raid nodes anyway, so it's not very unique just to the bio nodes. Outside of Doom 3, they can auto any other raid node. Their best overall raid team, in my opinion, period. I think that they're the best raid team in the game for any raid node. If taking out requirements for traits, I think they're the best raid team overall. Some of these characters are also pretty good in DDU, right? Ghost Spider, OG Spidey Miles. They're needed for Pestilence Scourge. Like literally, you have to use them if you want to go to the higher difficulties in Pestilence Scourge. And Spidey and Miles are also available for earlier game players too. And some of the Web Warriors are becoming farmable now, so that should help out some of the player base here. The next team on this list are the Bionic Avengers. A little bit early, I would say, but I do think that just based on what we've seen so far, what we know, that they are going to be a strong option. So they're a Scourge team. They're going to be used for death here. We don't know who the Death Scourge, Death War Horseman character is going to be yet, but we know that they're a team that can be used for it. Based on what we've seen so far in their kits, they're going to be used for Doom Tech raids, right? We still have to see how the team performs. So just based on how they look, the kit just looks really strong and dynamic, and that they're going to be really good there. And I think even to a certain extent that they're also going to be good outside of their game mode too, probably like Cosmic Crucible, maybe an Alliance War, things like that. I think still that you're going to find some high value for them there, just because of the high, and I actually wrote down here, like due to the high required investment, there's definitely going to be some other value for them. Iron Man individually can be used for the upcoming War Scourge because he does have the Wave 1 Avenger tag. Also, Iron Man is a little bit more viable for earlier players now too. And I would say that Iron Man also may be a consideration for Dark Dimension lineups, right? So I do think that some play pro probably will want to wait for the full Horseman legendaries to be able to even go into Dark Dimension 4 or 5. But I still do think that he's still a consideration, but Iron Man is expensive AF, so that's one thing to think about if you are going to be bringing him into Dark Dimension. All right, next team on the list is X-Men. I reluctantly put them here, man, because they're still like the only real full team option that you have available for the mutant Doom raids. And in Doom 3 raids, they are just not doing well, right? Mutant nodes still suck. There is like the first two nodes, or you have to use X-Men or else like it's a bust. But even when you use them, it's still a bust. The boss node, I mean, there's a nice combo with like Jubilee, Beast, Rogue, Gambit, and Omega Red, but just Mutant is just really crazy. Where like there's just too many sacks that need to happen. We need an answer for Mutant Doom raids. The rumor is that there's going to be a new Mutant raid team coming. I wrote down meh. I'm not sure about that one because I feel like the next team could potentially be skill. There's a trend in MSF, right? I wanted to talk about this trend really quickly. Is that they usually leave one problem section in every single Doom raid. Like Doom 1, the problem section was bio. They didn't provide a bio answer until we got to Doom 2 raids. And then like for Doom 2 raids, the problem section was really tech, although because Mutant was still doable, but tech was just like, oh my goodness, this is brutal. We found a way, but now they're giving us a tech raid team, so all the 4 sections are set, but now Mutant is not. So I'm like wondering if Mutant is going to be that section where it's just there's always a section in one of these Doom raids that's just not great, and it might just as well be this team again. So we'll see what happens here, but X-Men are on this team reluctantly, ultimately because of they're the only option for Mutant Doom raids. The next team on this list is New Warriors, but I put an asterisk next to them because they're primarily just Doom raids right now, and they might be pushed aside for Darkhold depending on where you are for stars for that team. I put it right down here, right? Like, however, Darkhold is still not fully farmable, so they're probably your only option, right? There's more reliable shards that you can get for the New Warriors team. If you're not doing Doom raids, then their value drops, right? As a team overall, like, does it still make sense to invest into New Warriors? Probably not. Might be best to hold off and see how becomes farmable. I put LOL here because let's be real, man. Their farmability, it's just not good in this game. They can perhaps be a hybrid team later on when you think about New Warriors, like maybe Morgan, Eternals, Deathpool for the ability energy, and then maybe a 5th. Maybe you want to throw in Cloak in there if you got some good stars on him. He is easier to farm because he's in the raid store than trying to farm. Then again, Dagger actually is always there. It's just that she's expensive, and then of course with the raid store you gotta wait, but you probably get more reliable raid credits depending on what sort of alliance that you're in here. So yeah, outside of raids, the team is very limited. I mean, for earlier players, Cloak and Dagger can help for some of the later campaigns, daily challenges, and stuff like that. But otherwise, I mean, they're your option for your Doom Mystic raids with Eternals. If you don't have them, if you are not doing Doom raids, they provide less value, but I'm still enjoying using the team in Doom raids. I'm just trying to make a proper assessment of the team, right? Then we have Unlimited X-Men that's next. Let's be honest, this is mostly about Rogue. Gambit isn't terrible. He's not a terrible character. He's actually pretty good on the team. I do like Sunfire. I just think his animations are just really cool. They are amazing in Cosmic Crucible, though. They are the best Cosmic Crucible team, but I think that MSF has ruined this team in a way, and I will say it, and I'll say that because they've kind of cheesed it to where you have to use them in one particular room, right? And that's that mutant room. You kind of have to use them there. So basically, it's a cheese, right? It's like you put them on defense or you leave them on offense so that you can fight other peoples that are on defense, right? Like literally, that's kind of how the situation ends up playing out. It's kind of trash, if in my opinion. I would like to be able to have some sort of agency to be able to use them in any room, but that's not the case right now based on how things have been set up. So in a lot of ways, I actually don't like that they did that. But they're a must build for Famine Saga. And if you've done the Pestilence Saga already, you have realized that red stars are incredibly important. So is gear in order to be able to get through it. But then again, to be fair, the Pestilence Scourge event was easier than the Famine Scourge event. So maybe the Famine Saga will be easier, as than the Pestilence Saga was, right? So we'll have to see how that pans out. But because they're going to be a must-build team for Saga, you're going to need them for Apocalypse. For me, they kind of show up on this list as a must-build team and as one of the most valuable teams. So that's the reason why we're here. All right, the next couple of teams are going to be kind of interesting. Because I think their value is limited, but they are still valuable. So that's the reason why they're on this list. Infinity Watch, one of the best one-punch teams. I do totally understand, though, if it's a no-build team for you because maybe you don't care about Adam Warlock or whatever, like the value that they could provide elsewhere. They're no longer the arena meta, but at lower levels, Phyla, Gamora, Nebula can provide some really, really, really early value. If you're kind of just like a early beginner player, Phyla-Vel is great in Gamma raids. Yeah, I hope I said that right. So, like, for early players who are just starting out, right, Phyla, Vel, Gamora, Nebula are like a nice little three-headed monster. But if you can get other characters like Eternals, you're probably not going to use them. But there's just a lot of value I found with Infinity Watch. They're like a constant Room 4 through 6 team that I can use to beat a lot of other teams in Cosmic Crucible. So I'm happy I built them, right? I don't know if I would recommend building them if you haven't built them already. For that reason, though, for the sake of this list, I still kind of got to put them there because I am finding a lot of value from them right now. In Tower, whenever that comes around, I usually get good value there. In Alliance War, I use them to build big teams. Mainly right now, it's an unlimited X-Men counter that I use them against in War because a lot of people are building up their unlimited X-Men. But I can use them sometimes against those Marauders teams. There's a lot of teams that they can beat in Alliance War. So therefore, for me, they are on this list. Weapon X, kind of in a similar boat in a sense, but different. They're primarily a war offense team, but they're still a good overall one-punch team, right? Like, you can use them in CC, you can use them in Tower. They're great in Alliance. They're the best war offense team. Probably going to be replaced as the best one once we have Red Hulk and the Gamma team. But for the sake of what we're talking about here, I got to put them on the list because I do find a ton of value with this team right now, primarily even like Omega Red, right? And before Lady Deathstrike. Omega Red is great in Arena. I still use him. Maybe not as much as I used to since Rogue has kind of taken over as a legendary that I use in Arena now. I should have mentioned that earlier too. Like, Rogue is amazing in Arena. But like Omega Red, I still use him against some comps in Arena because I think he's more optimal there. In the Doom raids, nice for a boss duel for like Doom 2, and lower for your mutant sections. Dark Dimension, he's amazing in Dark Dimension. And also for the mutant challenge, really clutch for the mutant challenge as well. I used Omega Red, Rogue, Jubilee, like a three legendary team alongside Beast and who was the other character? Emma, to be able to get through the mutant challenge. So yeah, I mean, we got to put them on this list. LDS, Lady Deathstrike, has lost some value here due to Bionic Avengers, but if you have built her, there is some value. I've actually been used LDS. Shout out to Dogbert in his videos here. I've actually used LDS in Arena successfully as well. So, definitely there's some value there, but maybe she's lost a little bit of value recently. And then Young Avengers, last team on the list here. Great overall team in a lot of game modes here. I think Squirrel Girl is amazing. I've used her in so many different areas, right? Dark Dimension. She's part of my second node SAC team in the Bio Doom 3 raids right now. Almost essential, I didn't finish my statement here, but almost essential for a lot of other game modes, like for your challenges. I don't know if I would be able to get through the bio challenges at step 5 if I did not have Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl was pretty much basically the reason why the team survived. So therefore, I like them there. Kate Bishop, right now on an interim basis, I still use her in Doom 3 raids right now. She's good for that. Once she gets that charge with that ultimate to blind and do a little bit of damage, I think she's pretty good there too. So Young Avengers, I think, are one of the better overall teams in the game. Not the best, but one of the better overall teams in the game. They're a good Cosmic Crucible team too, like defensively, but definitely in my hands as offense, Young Avengers are also pretty good, especially to be able to take out Wakandans. Seen some big old Wakandans, man, and using my Young Avengers has helped me to be able to eliminate them, but they're also pretty good against some other comps too as well. I do have some honorable mentions here. X Factor, I put Wave 1 Avengers here. This is definitely for lower levels. Maybe if you're doing difficulty 5 and the Scourge event. It's a hard sell though, because the recommendation is G13 for those characters. I don't know if I'd recommend throwing any G15, G13, even on any of. I'm a big proponent of don't gear tier 13 a character unless you plan on G14 in them, and it's just as a I don't know if that's a recommended. This might be a bad honorable mention, I'll be honest with you, but I was just more thinking about other players who probably won't have access to Hero as Guardians. That's the reason why I threw them on this list here. Dark Hunters, character team that you can use in the Pestilence Scourge event, and insert anyone else here that you probably want to, right? Because I'm sure that I didn't grab and get every single team that probably could be mentioned on this list. So here's a list, guys. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Hopefully this was a helpful video for you to talk about the most valuable teams here in MSF. You know, I do think that the Gamma team is probably going to definitely be making this list, right? Number one as a must-build team, but I do think that there probably is going to be some value with some of the other characters that you may be able to use as a plug and play, maybe, right? So I do think that there could be some value there. Also, so be that some of them are bio when we process that. So, all right, guys, listen, appreciate you watching the video. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the notification bell so that you know when the videos do go live. And until next time, guys, you guys be blessed. Hey, y'all be safe. Bye.